Today, we dove into state trees, so let's not leaf any time wasted and get into day 70 of Goblin's Creed development. As you all know, I like to, if possible, clear up any bugs that persisted from the previous day, and it's been a pretty productive day in that regard. I was able to track down the radial progress bar issue and get that working. When updating the progress, I was calling a function that called a function that was reading from a variable I was no longer using. When testing the game, I kept running into these invisible walls, so I turned on collision in the world view and saw these guys. For some reason, my pillars had extra collision that was offset from the mesh, so I removed them and we are seemingly good to go on that front. I also noticed that when going down the stairs, the player would just die when reaching the bottom. At first I thought this too was some odd collision issue happening, but when I turned the stairs around and went up them, nothing happened. My next assumption was that I may have been crossing the world bounds, resulting in the player dying, which ended up being the case. At first I could only find this enable worlds bound checks, which when disabled solved my issue. However, I didn't want to just turn this off because if a player does manage to fall out of my level, they'd end up falling forever. I was having trouble finding the setting to fix this, but luckily chat had my back. Honestly, the name for this made me laugh. It makes sense, but also reminds me of some edgy gamer tag. After increasing the value, we were able to descend the dungeon with no problem. I also added in a center light into the main rooms to fill the light more, and I think it looks really good. It'll be tweaked when I finally get a roof on them, which is still looming over me. And finally, I got started on state trees for enemy AI. For our boy Gelatinous Cube, I used a behavior tree, but I stumbled upon state trees, which is somewhat of a new little feature Unreal offers. The benefit of a state tree over a behavior tree is that a state tree doesn't need to constantly check what state it's in. So there's actually some performance benefits, as well as them being easier to know what's going on visually, but maybe that's just me. I'll try not to get too in the weeds with this at the moment, but right now there's two states, idle and chase, and to move from idle to chase, the AI perception system has to see a player. This state tree is intended for these guys, which I'm officially naming Skulkers. The name was suggested a while ago in a comment and it stuck with me. But the idea behind these guys is that they're motionless unless activated. Right now, I only have this hooked up to this floating head, but as of right now, it'll sit there until a player is seen and then chase them. And as you can see, he gets distracted pretty easily right now. That'll cover day 70. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.